But I think this is as close to whimsy as I'm gonna get, I think, in these texts.
I would say I would say like, and maybe this is the whimsy that they're referring to. Like they're like,
this is the
oh,
whimsy that was promised. Yeah, this is.
yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Pot of the Seven Kingdoms, a journey through the Dunk and Egg novellas. I am Baki Balboa.
And I am Belak, and we are both rocking sweatshirts tonight. Love that for us.
Sweater weather.
Sweater weather. I love sweater weather. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is my New Jersey ancestors is coming through me. I'm being taken over by it. Yes, sweater weather. For those of you that don't know, I work full time and also go to school part time, and it is late in the semester, and that is the worst time. So this is where I'm at. This is what I'm wearing all the time. So it's this what we do here. But we are reading this here book, and it's good.
It is.
I don't know if you knew that.
We are we're on The Sworn Sword. This is I guess the third episode of The Sworn Sword, and we are reading from the middle of page 143, where it says the next day a dozen would-be warriors, down to the bottom of page 151, where it says he hoped that no stars fell tonight.
Yeah. Oh, Dunk, my boy.
Before we dive into all of this, obviously it's been a little bit. How are you?
I'm good. I was just
aside from very busy.
Well, yeah. I mean, they keep making me do law stuff, and I'm like, why would you expect that of me? And they're like, you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. I'm like, I don't know that I agree with that one. But what's really important is normally, dear viewers, those of you who do actually watch the video on YouTube, you might often notice that I drink out of a mug on the screen, and it's usually tea. But today it's a very fancy, different drink. It is hot chocolate, the luxurious hot chocolate from the packet that you make with hot water on your stove. So I'm having my bowl of brown while we are recording.
Is there a brand name, or is this just generic powder?
This is a box. It's probably a Swiss something.
A Swiss Miss.
I don't know that it's Swiss Miss or it's like Swiss Mix. You know, it's like a like just enough to not infringe the trademark kind of thing. You know, it's like, oh, we're different.
Yeah.
It's probably like Swix Mix. You know, it's spelled with like an X. And the box has definitely been with me for many years, and I've not completed it. So I decided to do this. So if I
Alpine Lady,
maybe it's the White Lady, like the ship they rode to Old Town. Oh my god! And I was telling you before we started recording that there weren't a lot of themes here. Fucking wrong. Look at me, just incorrect.
So, there's so much to discuss. This section you were mentioning, like as we were getting going, is very cute, and it has this sort of unsettling vibe the entire time.
Yeah, like a lot of George's work, yeah. But I think this is as close to whimsy as I'm gonna get, I think, in these texts.
I would say like, and maybe this is the whimsy that they're referring to. Like this is
the whimsy that was promised. Yeah,
in the first third of The Sworn Sword, there is whimsy.
Yes.
And this is the first we've gotten. Although we do get little sprinklings of some darkness looming.
Yes.
And things that have happened out in the wider world that we did not explicitly know about up till now.
Yeah.
We get, I guess, in this section, Dunk is assembling his forces.
Oh, yes. He said, "Red alert, everyone. It is time. Gather, my soldiers, and we shall march." And who exactly shows up when he calls?
I think it's eight guys in the end.
Well, so a bunch of other people showed up, but they dismissed a bunch of them, including one skinny boy and one skinny boy who turned out to be a skinny girl. And they said, go home. And I'm like, well, I don't know, man. She volunteered. I feel like you should have taken her. But they don't have the equal protection clause in Westeros. So they sent her home. So they end up with 8 guys whose names... Okay, we'll talk about their names. And then I have a question for you about their names. So their names are 3 Watts, 2 Wills, a Lem, a Pate, and Big Rob the Lackwit. So 3 of these 8 people are named Watt. 2 of them are named Will. Was that intentional, or did George R. R. Martin say, that's too many people for me to name all at once? 3 of them are named Watt.
He's like, I want to humanize them by giving them names, and I'm certainly not coming up with 8 unique names.
Right, exactly. I'm like, this is like when we were kids, when everyone in class was named Jennifer, you know? When there were like 5 or 6 Jennifers. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's lazy writing. We should have thought of better names than just naming everyone Jennifer.
There is a bit of that. So we've talked about the fact before that my wife is from the New York City area. Yeah. And her name is Erica. And she is one of very few Ericas that she like grew up with, because, you know, being in the suburbs of New York City, it's like a lot of Italians, a lot of Jews, not a lot of like generic white people. And for her family being extremely Italian, Erica is a very white name.
Yeah, I only knew one Erica growing up.
So she's like, up until this point, she's sort of the only Erica that she, like, in her circles, she's been like the only Erica. And now we live in Ohio.
Oh no.
And within just our immediate neighborhood friend group, she is one of 4 Ericas.
Oh my God. They come together like the power rings.
Like Voltron.
Yes.
So
Ericatron form.
Erica B, there's an Erica Z, Dr. Erica, and Erica. So there are like there are legitimately 4 Ericas, and they had to differentiate, similar to how they're like, well, how are we going to tell the Watts apart? There's 3 guys named Watt, and they have to like go to some sort of odd lengths, I guess, to name these 3 common folk.
Oh, that's funny. I guess it does happen in real life when you have like a lot of the same name hanging around. But so like the Watts, like, I like to think it's meaningful, and we can certainly talk about that in analysis. I like to think it's meaningful that a lot of their names are the same. But what's interesting about it, like you were saying, is how they then try to differentiate them. Like they figure out that one of the Watts had fallen down a well, so he becomes Wet Watt.
Wet Watt.
Wet. I can't even say that.
Wet Watt is a Star Wars character. Let's be real. That's that Wet Watt is absolutely a Star Wars character.
Wet Watt's a Jedi that's like not doing so great, you know?
Yeah.
Wet Watt's lightsaber's like orange. He's not quite sure why. He's like,
yeah.
So that's what happens is Dunk assemble your troops, and they all come. The other funny thing about the names is 2 of the Watts are brothers.
Yeah.
So his mom just named 2 sons Watt.
Just Watt and Watt.
Yeah, why not? It's fine.
She could tell them apart. She didn't really care that nobody else could.
Right, exactly. This is like how Walder Frey, like everybody names all their like kids and great kids Walder.
Walder.
Same gist. So it's like
Dunk is like alarmed at the fact that he was expecting, I guess, like some diamonds in the rough, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he's expecting to find people like him, where it's like a secretly ripped and like huge peasant.
Yes.
That he couldn't call on in this moment where he needs fighters, and he finds a bunch of like average guys.
Right. He finds like the regular dudes that work in your office, which is like, it's not their fault. They work in the office. They're not like ready to fight in war. He says,
Rob.
Yeah, exactly. We've all got a tall guy named Rob in our office. The joke in my office is that we always have a Chris. Like, and we have like a 1-to-1 replacement ratio where like we'll lose a Chris and immediately gain one back. Like there's always a Chris and he's always tall.
That's
so we're
funny.
like, if you need something off the shelf, don't go talk to Chris. Whichever Chris is here, that's the one. He's gonna be tall. He's gonna be able to get it for you. That's it.
Wow, DEI run rampant. Chris's are just getting hired left, right, and center.
God damn it. Oh man. But Doug says this great thing. Or the text says, the strapping, handsome peasant boys who won the hearts of highborn maidens in the songs were nowhere to be seen. And I'm like, Dunk, honey, look in the fucking mirror, man.
Yeah.
That's you.
If you're looking for the giant ripped peasant, he's here.
That's you. You are the main character. You just don't know it.
Yep. And he happens to be pretending to be a knight. That's the
yeah.
The giant ripped peasant is here and pretending to be a knight.
Yes.
But no, and it is so yeah, they spend all this time sort of I guess like sorting out essentially how are we going to make this group work together. And he's asking about longbows and stuff, which I did think that this was an interesting, and we can get more into the analysis, but there's an interesting note in here of he asks like, any of you good with a longbow? And they're like, they don't let us have longbows because we can't hunt the deer.
Yep.
Which was very interesting. It's just that little
hey, yeah. I don't know enough about bows to know that. I know a longbow is particularly strong, so you would need that for like deer hunting. I don't know that you would need one for like rabbit hunting, for example.
No, certainly not.
So maybe it's like they're specifically not allowed the bow that could take the venison.
Sure. Like the
maybe
big
they have
game.
smaller, right? They could have smaller bows for smaller game, but not the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, like hunt squirrels all you want. Like I don't care. Like,
yeah.
But
go ahead, take the Ospreys, but not the deer.
Yeah, the Ospreys get the deer, and certainly that would be considered like poaching, and you'd get your hand chopped off or something.
Right, exactly, and you'd be whatever.
But it's funny. This is they're implementing bow control in
the DEI, the bow control. What even is this country?
This is the future that Checky Lions want. So
this is what's going to happen in New York now that Zoran Mamdani's there. Let me tell you,
exactly.
There's going to be bow control.
No bows for hunting deer, and no strapping peasants.
No, and many Chris's in every office. That's all we're going to get.
Chris in every office.
Oh, just terrible. Just awful. I love the next part because then Dunk says, okay, we need to get you guys weapons. I know. Why don't you go make some sticks, Pointy, and call it a day?
Yep. Well, they show up for practice, and everybody's got like hand-me-downs and used cleats, their baseball bat that their brother.
The lefty glove that they swear they can play with righty.
Yeah. And and yeah, they show up with what I think was cool about this whole sort of scene and the arming of this, if you could even call it that, where they literally go out into the woods and they find sticks and they sharpen them, turn them into spears, quote unquote, and then weave shields out of more sticks. This whole scene is very like Feast for Crows. It's very Broken Man speech of like of we showed up, and we had to fight with whatever. We didn't get armed, we didn't get fed, we didn't get like it's none of the glorious stuff that you would expect. And even they ask like, oh, so do we get like armor and weapons? And they're like, no.
And so Bennis is like, well, once you kill someone and steal it, but we don't have that shit for you right now. Yeah, I mean, like, how it's like it's so dangerous. Yeah, I mean, they're basically going to be theoretically sent into battle with pointy sticks.
Yeah, and it's a very, very strange comfort, but essentially the gamble here is that they will be sent in with similar arms to the people that they're fighting.
Right.
Like they're kind of banking on the other side being similarly ill-equipped. which is probably a fair bet, like to a certain extent, where they're like, well, they don't have a ton of, men at arms or something like that in the castle across the way. So it's probably also going to be peasants, and they're just going to throw these peasants with pointy sticks at each other and call it a battle.
Right, exactly. And they'll say, what's the problem with this?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it later, but Egg actually says, I feel that there's a problem with this.
Yeah.
He's the only one in the text so far that's like, wait a minute.
Leave it to the prince to...
Yeah, these kids,
I know. Woke.
Woke. These woke Targaryens.
Woke Targaryens. Yeah, exactly.
So they they do the training, and it's cute. They're like all they practice on each other. Bennis is kind of trying to teach them how to fight. We get a little bit about the Red Widow in here, where Bennis says, or no, is it Bennis? It's is it Sir Eustace who says, the old Sir Eustace comes out and gives them like a rousing huzzah, basically. And Sir Eustace says, you all remember Dake, the Red Widow threw him in a sack and drowned him. She took his life, and now she thinks to take our water too, but she will not. For Osgrey. And I remember them talking about someone that the Red Widow killed. Yeah. But was it Dake or it was someone else?
I think it's Dunk who sort of recalls Sam Stoops or Sam Stoops' wife, which they're referred to referred to very similarly. But I think it's Sam Stoops tells him, or he remembered that Sam Stoops told him that the Red Widow had sewed a guy into a bag and thrown him in the river or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know that this is I don't know that anyone knows who Dake is, or if this is true at all.
Right. I mean, they basically read it on Westerosi Twitter and then said, I read it on the internet, it must be true. Yeah. So, and they're like, wow, I can't believe that bitch, she drowned that guy Dake that we all totally do.
Yeah.
This is what a weird pivot from remember that guy she drowned? Also now she's taking the water. You could have just started with the water bit, you don't need to start with the drowned guy that none of us know.
Yeah.
But whatever, man.
For
okay.
Dake.
Yeah, for Dake, that guy. Woo.
It was who? What did he say?
Yeah. So then it kind of rouses them, and then they continue to train. They train the little company amongst the pigs and chickens while Sir Eustace watched in the balcony above. And it's just so interesting to think about the training scenes we've always seen in A Song of Ice and Fire are in the training yard.
Yeah.
They're always the boys of the various noble families are out in the training yard doing whatever. Tommen is hitting something with a sword, a fake thing with a fake sword. They're doing fake little jousts. They're doing, drills or whatever in Winterfell. And this sort of all of this stuff always kind of reminds me a bit of Arya and Arya's chapters, because she's kind of the one that gets closest to this sort of thing, her practicing with her stick in the Godswood and stuff. She kind of did the same thing. She went into the woods and said, "Let me find a pointy stick," and did that. And in case you didn't know, that Bennis sucks and is a bad dude. I don't know if you were aware that Bennis was a bad dude. I don't know if you picked that up.
There's some subtle hints.
There's, there's on the very top of page 146, he's explaining how to stab with a pointy stick, which I believe can be summarized as stick him with the pointy end. I believe that's pretty much it. But totally. Bennis was trying to give them more specific pointers about where to stab, and then he got a little too into it. And he says, Lem, get your weight behind your thrust. There's a boy. And in and out and in and out. Fuck him with it. That's the way. In and out. Rip him, rip him, rip him.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Yeah.
We didn't need that one, George. I knew Bennis was bad. I was already aware.
Yeah.
But then he's just I'm okay, well.
He's up until this point, stick and twist and rip it out might be misconstrued as just overly encouraging. People might not know that Bennis is a bad guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he goes for the violent imagery, and there's probably, I mean, just the feeds back into some of the more overarching themes of the fact that, you know, it's a deeply misogynistic world. And
Oh yeah.
maybe there is even a point, I think it's later on, where Bennis is sort of hyping up the idea of war to them, and specifically talks about like sort of the loot and the women, which, if we're being real, it's not women in the like rock star sense of, oh, I have women like flocking to me because I'm so cool. It's like, no, these are like poor people who are like being conquered or whatever.
Right. No, this is sexual violence that he's talking
Yeah.
about. Oh, whoops.
Like that's all it
Whoopsie.
is. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, you know, the part that's cool about war is all the sexual violence. And Bennis is just like doubling down throughout this
Bennis
on
is like, remember that if
it's
you
my
win the
favorite part of
battle,
this whole deal.
yeah, if you win the battle, think of all the sexual violence you get to do. Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
And
It's
they
like,
let you
cool.
do it.
Yep. He's just like, it'll be great. They'll love it. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
He also makes another comment in this section about about Sir Eustace, and I'm not sure where it is, but basically he says it's too bad. The nicer version of this is, it's too bad that Sir Eustace didn't have more bastards. And that's like his he says it in a much crasser fashion.
Sure.
But basically he's like, oh, it's too bad that Sir Eustace didn't like take advantage of all the peasant women when he was younger. You know, I'd end up in the fucking Epstein files and have all these extra bastards. Then we'd have more soldiers now.
We'd have more of an army.
Yeah, and a really interesting political intrigue happening.
Fair.
Could you imagine the Epstein files in Westeros, though? They're like all on parchment.
Yeah.
But it's the same emails. It's still like to, from, like ... at Westeros.org.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have to, now that they're back in the news, I have to formulate my next TikTok about them. But yeah.
The Raven scrolls that were discovered.
Exactly.
So yeah, Bennis, bad guy.
Yeah, he's just the worst. And there was also after Bennis is egging them on about talking about all the joys of a soldier's life, which again, this is like, you know, we know how inglorious it is. And Lem is like, I went and fought in the Blackfire Rebellion, and I came back with a knife and a pair of boots.
Yeah.
The boots don't fit, so they're hanging on my wall.
I love him.
Which is just really crazy. They were too small for him, but he had them hanging on his wall, which is just, if that doesn't encapsulate sort of the futility of this whole thing, right?
Yes.
Like, some guy died so that Lem from the, you know, shadow of Standfast could bring those boots home and not wear them.
Yep. He's like, I got this. And it's like one of those things that's like, I went to the Blackfire Rebellion and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
Exactly.
But it's just a lousy pair of boots that he displays.
But he's like deeply proud of them.
Yeah.
Like, them's the boots I got in the Blackfire Rebellion.
Yeah, that's the swag he got when he went there. So like, yeah, I mean, oh them.
And it's just, yeah, it is sad because it's like, oh, you definitely brought back a lot more from the Blackfire Rebellion than just this pair of boots. And you have to be sort of proud of it because it's literally all you can cling to.
And then Pate was just talking about all the camp followers he'd known following the dragon. So here's Lem like, look at my cool shoes. And here's Pate like, I fucked. You know, like, this is the two things. That's it. That's all they've got going for him.
Yeah, he's just back in the camp. Like, everybody has left for the battle. And Pate is just back in the camp.
That's exactly what he's doing. And I do really like kind of like there's a long paragraph here that describes and shows all these wonderful pictures of the men like falling over and like being like whatever. Because eventually Dunk fights them, with a wooden sword to give them practice. And Dunk's just like gentle parenting them through. Like, and you can tell that like he does a good job because of the following paragraph where all of them get together and they talk about like what they're going to do. They could hardly wait to prove their valor. And I can't find it right now, but they're basically talking about how like they want to do well. So because it says they wanted to prove their valor. The men were bone tired, but to hear them talk, every one of them would soon be twice as deadly as a Kingsguard knight.
Yeah.
And like that, like Dunk's a good teacher, ultimately.
For sure.
And he that he was like he was like telling them what to do, but in like, he was like Miss Rachel. He was like, "Can you say stab?
Yeah.
Stab." Stab.
He shows he does a lot of the like demonstration or whatever of he uses himself as a target.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you need to practice, and like if I get past your point, I'm gonna smack you with the pine sword or whatever.
Yeah.
But he is, allowing himself to be sort of the target of their practice as well and be the like living dummy. Which I think there's something in that too, just to, most knights are not gonna even threaten being stabbed by
that's actually a really good point
of a commoner, right?
Yeah.
They'll let him snag the bags of flour or whatever.
Right. Because like think about all of the training, like various training montages we see with the various characters in the series. They're always fighting each other. And like the master of arms is like looking on.
Yeah.
It's like pretty rare for the actual like knight or whatever to be that. Maybe Serial Pharrell is like the one.
Sure.
But I mean he's not a knight, he's a sword master. But yeah, it's a really good point that Dunk has no problem. And that means two things about him. One, he's really dedicated to helping these people learn how to fight. And two, he's so sure that he's not going to get hurt from these people trying to fight him.
Yeah.
Like he's very confident in
that. And then it's time for baths.
Bath full of themes. Every night I get into a bath and I say, "Oh, all my themes are washing away."
I do love the throwaway line that he makes them all bathe even if they had one just last winter.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Which is wild. But no, I do like the idea of these like grown-ass men, and I know they're not like old or anything, or well, the one is, but they're not old. But the idea of like grown men like bitching about having to take a bath is just really funny. Like them all being like, like why? Like I don't wanna.
Oh, I don't want to be clean, Mom.
Teenage Dunk is being like, you need to take a bath. Like it's cleanliness is next to godliness or whatever. Yeah. Like, he's just like saying his Arlen of Pennytree like adages.
Just wagging his finger.
Exactly.
But like, it's a pain in the ass to take a bath because they have to like boil the water.
And I was gonna say the way
it's like a crazy process.
Yeah.
So like I get it, like it's arduous, but
Bennis, we get another like Bennis is bad though, like because Bennis is like he saw the whole thing as too much trouble, so he never bathed, which is why he smelled terrible. And
he smelled bad.
Yeah, where it's like, man, this guy he literally stinks, right? Like he stinks in the figurative sense and the literal sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like, again, in case you haven't noticed, this is not a good person.
I get it, George. I've picked up what you've put down. I've picked it up. It's bouncing in front of me. I've picked it up. I put it down. I got it. I got it, George. Yeah. So they have a bath, and this is when Egg says, "Wait a minute. What if these people die, though?" And Dunk goes, "Huh?"
Well, Egg is like teetering on the edge too, because he's like, if they could die, like, why did we bother giving them names? Because now it'll be harder to, which
Oh
is the
my
whole horse. It's
gosh.
the horse argument all
It's
over
the horse
again.
argument.
Of like, you keep naming the horses, and
Yeah.
when they die, it makes it harder. And it's like,
Exactly.
now the horses are people.
What if the horses were people?
Yeah. What if
The dragons were horses, and what if the horses were people? Have you thought? Have you made this connection? Boom.
And then
done.
Egg likes his baths steaming hot.
Did you know? But we'll get to that. Did you know that he's Targaryen? So wait, but Egg says, like he's complaining that their shields are not real shields and their swords aren't real. And Egg says, they might be killed, sir. Wet Wat is still half a boy. Will Barleycorn is to be married the next time the Septon comes. And Big Rob doesn't even know his left foot from his right. And Dunk's response is not to be like, we're training them so they'll be okay. Or like, it's their duty to do this. And this is part of, because the Lord protects them, they have none of that. He just gives examples of other people that also died. He says, Roger of Pennytree was younger than Wet Wat when he died in the Red Grass Field. There were men in your father's host who'd just been married too, and other men who'd never even kissed a girl. There were hundreds who didn't know their left foot from their right, maybe thousands. So why are you complaining?
Yeah.
And Ed is not satisfied.
No, it is an interesting discussion. I think we'll probably talk about it more, but the fact that Egg in his mind is like, yeah, but that was for something serious. Like,
yeah,
they were dying like for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
This is very small and very stupid. Like, they shouldn't die for this. And Dunk, I think Dunk's perspective is essentially like, they are like, they both die, right? Like, like the end result is the same, like regardless of, yes, the scale is different, and the result for like that one person, there's literally no difference. Like, so Dunk is like, if you're gonna get upset about this, then like you should be upset about all of these old, like, just because it's war doesn't make it better or worse, right? Like,
it's still leading to violence and death and destruction. Absolutely. And then this is when we get some shit about this boot. There's some shit in the boot. And I don't think we know what's in this boot yet.
I don't think we know what's in the boot.
Oh shit. What the fuck's in the boot?
And
what's in the boot?
But it is funny because he said, yeah, what's in the boot exactly? He said, because what is he says,
if we used my boot, and then Dunk says no.
Yeah. And he says, like, we're not using the boot. So let's hear no more about your boot. Your father did not want it to be known that you were wandering the Seven Kingdoms with some hedge knight. So let's hear no more about your boot. So it's something that would reveal who he is.
Dunk thinks, how many eyes does Lord Bloodraven have? 1,000 eyes and one. What's in the fucking boot? Okay, I've read a decent amount about these stories over the course of my time on the internet. I have never heard about shit about this fucking boot. I don't know if I just missed it because I didn't understand the context. So I'm literally reading this and I'm like, the fuck is this shit? What the hell is this boot thing?
I also, like, and this is going to sound somewhat cynical, I think that there's a lot of people who have, like, who know about these books and maybe haven't actually read the whole thing. Or like haven't read it. They definitely, reading them closely, whatever. Which
this is a different experience. Yeah,
good opportunity to do so. But, but I would say, like, people spotting that, like, particular detail, at least this early in the story, I don't think is common, and people don't necessarily talk about it in the context of his boot. But we get a little, we get a little bit more flavor added to like Dunk and Egg's journeys through
Well,
Dorne.
this is that sort of darkness that you were talking about. We're like, we're whimsy. We're doing a little sword fighting. We're doing a little. We're going to be great knights. So we're going to think about Bloodraven and his 1,000 eyes. Like
yeah. And then it goes back into whimsy a little bit of like the pole boats and the white lady and.
Oh wait, let's talk about this because they talk about where they've been and like all the places they've gone to.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
And they say they crossed the deep sands of Dorne, both red and white. A pole boat had taken them down the Green Blood to Planky Town, where they took passage to Old Town on the Galeas White Lady. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh, the names of ships are like oftentimes like meaningful. And I'm like, is it the White Worm? Is it the moon? Is it snakes? Is it like, what are we doing? Like, there's all these things in the story. There's fog. And earlier in this section, there's like steam that comes off the water. That's white steam. And I'm like, is it and then all I could think after that was just like, imagine a ship, but with like the Karen haircut on the front of the ship. And it's just coming into the harbor, like screaming for the manager. So like that's what after that, like, oh no, it's the White Lady.
The White Lady.
So I don't know if it's significant, but that's what I was thinking about. What did you think I was
what I thought you were thinking about is we get a picture into Dunk's thirst behavior.
Oh yes, the thirst behavior is fantastic.
It's like they had slept in stables, inns, and ditches, broken bread with holy brothers, whores, and mummers, and chased down 100 puppet shows. He's just going to puppet shows every single night.
He's
just
like, I'm gonna find.
And praying.
He's like, I just want it so bad. He says, I'm here. I'm in Dorne. I'm thirsty.
And I mean, we're not sure if he has any luck. It doesn't seem like it because he'd probably still be in Dorne, but. But yeah, so they talk a little bit about the travels, and he has this thought of, oh, Egg had become almost like a little brother.
Yeah,
but he isn't. Yeah, he's Maekar's son. Like,
and his egg had been hatched of a dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not of chicken. I do think it's funny that it's like this egg had been hatched of dragons, not of chickens. Like,
yeah,
that's such an unnecessary addition. Like, as if this egg had been hatched of dragons. What, like a chicken?
Yeah.
No, not of chickens.
Not of chickens.
But so we get
a very Dunk thing to think.
We get this passage that does again like hint at something bigger going on, but we get like a key detail, which is, he's Aegon of House Targaryen, was the fourth and youngest son of Maekar, Prince of Summerhall, himself the fourth son of the late King Daeron the Good, the second of his name, who'd sat the Iron Throne for 5 and 20 years until the great spring sickness took him off. Things that we knew that Daeron was dead because Aerys the first, I believe, is the king.
Sure. I get my Targaryen men confused, but yes, something else.
But so we know that, obviously we know because of because of what's happened, that Baelor was supposed to be king, is not. His brother is king. But what we didn't know is how Daeron died. Or how recently he died, and it seems pretty recent. And what is the Great Spring Sickness? Because this is the first we're hearing about this.
We have a slight allusion to it earlier. Remember that they mentioned Sir Eustace's daughter had died in the spring. It didn't say the spring sickness, but it just said in the spring. And you had highlighted that actually. So I'm assuming it's sort of like, we're going to have people mentioned who died in the Great Spring Sickness. And Westeros historically, prior to this, has had several plague-like epidemic situations.
Yeah.
Where, King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne's first child, Daenerys, died of the winter fever or whatever it was that year. So it's actually interesting to think of another Targaryen dying of a sickness like that, because I thought they were magic and their blood was magic and they didn't suffer from the ills of normal men.
Yep.
That's weird.
Yeah, so we get the allusion to the Great Spring Sickness for the first time officially. And we get the agreement that Egg is not going to show his ID card or whatever is in his boot to anybody, and they are going to continue to keep it a secret, which is like, I think this is essentially the first actual confirmation that we get that Egg is like still concealing his identity. Like, I think it's obvious. It's obvious to us, the reader, as like he's still bald. He's still like, and it's the first like actual confirmation that all of these travels are happening very much. Makar's whole deal was, yeah, you can do this, and they better not know it's him. And you're going to keep his identity a secret. And then we get Egg's Dornish experience, which was his head getting rubbed by orphan girls and him threatening to throw them in the river. Because he's a child, he's a young boy who, when they get embarrassed, it's like girls are stupid.
Yeah, he does. He says girls are so stupid. The next one touches me is going in the river. And Dunk said, if that happens, then I'll be touching you. I'll give you such a clout in the ear, you'll be hearing bells for a moon's turn. And it goes, better bells than stupid girls.
Yeah.
And I don't know, was George R. R. Martin predicting the end of Game of Thrones season 8?
Could have been.
Bells. Stupid girls.
Better bells than stupid, crazy girls.
Also, his descendant, I suppose, will be very concerned about bells. So, he's got to watch out with these bells.
Yeah.
So there we go. Proof that the end of season 8 is canon right here. You heard it here first, folks.
Yep.
I'm kidding. Please, that is sarcasm. Please don't come for me.
Don't. Please. Yeah.
Please.
We'll put a disclaimer on it.
It's sarcasm.
Any references to Game of Thrones TM 2011 to 2019 are sarcastic, and it will thus be referred to as the bad show from here on.
The bad show.
Yeah. He also Dunk also scolds Egg for not shaving because he has a couple hairs that are like sticking out, and someone might notice.
Someone might notice a few hairs on the cheek of a young boy and say, "You must be a Targaryen prince." That's exactly what's going to happen.
He gets clean. Dunk gets clean. Which again, I think there's a thing to be gained here in that the one night spends the time like cleaning himself, and the other night is smells like bad cheese or whatever the description is.
Yes.
But they go up to go to sleep, and they have pallets down in the cellar, but both of them prefer to sleep up on the roof because the weather has been very dry. And we get Dunk looking up at the stars again.
Oh, and what a good passage. And this actually transitions right into analysis. So if we want, what we can do is just go through this
for sure
and get us into analysis, because I want everyone to remember your memory of what happened in the first book. And then think about how Dunk remembers this. This is the last paragraph. Egg was asleep by the time Dunk reached the roof. He lay on his back with his hands behind his head and stared up at the sky. The stars were everywhere, thousands and thousands of them. It reminded him of a night at Ashford Meadow before the tourney started. He had seen a falling star that night. Falling stars were supposed to bring you luck, so he told Tanzel to paint it on his shield. But Ashford had been anything but luck for him. Before the tourney ended, he had almost lost a hand and a foot, and 3 good men had lost their lives. I gained a squire, though. Egg was with me when I rode away from Ashford. That was the only good thing to come of all that happened. He hoped that no stars fell tonight. Thanks, George. What a beautiful passage. Like, just beautifully, like, simply written, straightforward, visual. recalls a scene that your reader almost certainly remembers from the first book.
For sure.
Also, like, wrong in so many ways. Because, right? Am I crazy?
It's crazy. No, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Dunk truly, it takes someone pointing it out to him to be like, hey, you also exist as a person.
Exactly.
Someone has to, like, in book in the Hedge Knight, it's Baylor often who's like, you're a person.
Yep.
And Dunk is like, I don't think so. I'm not that I can recall.
No one ever told me I was a person. Hold on.
Yeah, and here he is completely leaving out the fact that he, against all odds, fought a Targaryen prince, like beat up a Targaryen prince who was harming an innocent person.
Yep.
And in the aftermath of everything that happened, he survived. Like,
he won. He won the tourney.
He won the trial.
He won the trial by combat. I mean, he defended Tansel from attack. Yeah. He won the trial by combat on behalf of her, but also on behalf, I mean, I guess on behalf of himself as well, but also, like, sort of for the common folk. I mean, he stood up. He, like, stood up to the power and won. And the people that died alongside him, I mean, I think it is still good that he has that empathy to be like,
course,
that was a bad time because people died. That's good thought to have. That's good.
For sure.
Very much reflecting of his empathy, because there are plenty of characters whose heads we've been in that would not have thought that. But the people that fought alongside him did so because his path was righteous and his purpose was righteous.
Yeah.
And he was fighting for justice. And ultimately, at Ashford, justice prevailed. So it's so interesting that the only thing, and he left there, like, solidified as a knight with a squire who's a fucking Targaryen prince.
Yeah.
He got the best one.
Hit the jackpot.
Right, honestly. This is like when they open those Labubus and they want a certain one that he opened it, and it's a Targaryen Prince Labubu, and that's what he left with, and it was great.
Well, I mean, and truly, like, the only other knights in the realm that have Targaryen princes as squires are legitimately princes. And
mostly other Targaryen princes.
And, like, maybe Kingsguard. Like, maybe, like, a Lord Commander of the Kingsguard or something.
Right.
But no other knights are just... Yeah, and Dunk.
Yeah.
The Hedge Knight.
Right. Dunk
Obviously.
the Lunk. Dunk the Lunk, thick as a castle wall, who thinks that he saw a falling star and it should have been good luck, but only bad things happened after that. Like... Yeah.
Like his own survival.
He literally says, I had almost lost a hand and foot. Right, bro, but you didn't, though.
Right.
But did you die, though? No.
Exactly. And it's very lucky that you did. Like, all of the odds would have said, yes, you are at least, at best, you're losing a hand and foot. Probably you're going to die. And it probably feeds back into some of the classism and other themes.
Which was going to be my question, is like, what, like, reading that, I found, like, it struck me so, like, immediately that I was like, that's not what happened at Ashford Meadow. Yeah. You know, that's technically, like, factually what happened, but that's not all that happened at Ashford Meadow. Like, why do you think Dunk goes there? And, like, that's his memory of it.
I think there's an inherent sort of pessimism, and not to, like, double down too much on the classism, but I do think it plays a heavy role here in that he, one, doesn't really think of himself as a person as he thinks of the noble people as people, right? Like his the three good men who died are all of noble birth.
Yeah. One was the to be king.
Right. Like, one is, and so there's a little bit of I think his instinct almost is that, like, despite the fact that he has that conversation with Maekar at the end of the Hedge Knight, where he's like, well, I don't know why they picked him, but, like, you know, sort of don't, you know, does his life have more, you know, meaning or whatever. And I think his instinct just tells him to sort of erase himself, in these moments. Like, he is not of the same station and is not of the same importance as these people that he is now interacting with, and who like gave of themselves for him. And he's like, well, who the fuck am I to have like the crown prince die for me? So I think it's partially that. And I also think that there's sort of just like a pure humanity about Dunk, where he just inherently cares more about the sacrifices that other people have made on his behalf, because he doesn't feel necessarily like deserving of them, and he doesn't want people to be harmed, like for something that he did or something that he, so yeah, I would say like there's probably it's partially just like he's a good guy, and I do think that there's like a class aspect of he's so used to being deferential that he literally erases himself from his own story at times.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It was sort of like, I agree with everything you just said, and in addition, sort of the lack of main character energy. Like he understands within the scheme, at least he understands what the scheme is saying, which is that you are not the main character because you are not fancy. But this novel, these novellas, are about Dunk.
Yeah.
And like that's like kind of the whole thing. That's like the whole gist is like, this is not about the Targaryen family. This is about this hedge knight who does important things. And I do think it's quite a reflection of his humanity, which we're now seeing reflected in Egg as well, that he cares that these people died. Right? Because we're seeing Egg now being like, but these guys we're training could die. And that's coming from somewhere. Egg's not just like, producing that from the ether. He's learning that kind of empathy from Dunk.
For sure.
And Dunk certainly learned that from Sir Arlen.
Right.
So we get that like pay it forward sort of situation too.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting. And then he hoped that no stars fell tonight. Oh. Yeah. God, it hurts so good. I love it.
I know.
Thanks, George, but actually.
He's such a sad boy. Talking about the oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was also gonna transition us, but it sounded like you were gonna transition us. So go ahead.
Well, with Dunk and Egg, feeling empathetic, and Egg in particular, sort of for these now named peasants. The fact that they give them names could be sort of this, could be thrown in the whimsy pile of, this is George adding some levity to the story by giving them jokey names like Barleycorn and Melon, and these are their like noble names, and it feels significant that it's included. And it also feels significant that the peasants who are handed these names talk about them almost like they've been like landed.
Yeah, they take him right away. They're not like, no, I can't be Will Barleycorn. No, they're like, yes, I am now Will Barleycorn. Yeah, absolutely.
Or it seems like you're making fun of me. Like, you're calling me, like you're calling me Watt Barleycorn now. Like, seems kind of fucked up, actually. Like,
they call one of them Treb. Because
because he could throw a rock.
He's like, I can throw rocks good. And I'm like, great, you're like a trebuchet. And then they call him Treb.
That's funny.
A few things on this that I think is interesting. First of all, I love seeing naming peasants from this point of view, because if you think about A Song of Ice and Fire and like all of the various like lowborn people we encounter, to think about how they got their names. And even thinking about, like, we've talked about how we think Dunk got his name, like Dunk being like someone calling him stupid, like making fun of him, and then it just sticks as Dunk. And it's weird because we run into like Lem Lemoncloak, for example.
Sure.
Who's like, why? Because his cloak was yellow. They said Lem Lemoncloak, done. And it's I don't know. I just think it's interesting to see like the ease with which people are named and labeled and renamed by each other, and then it just sticks forever. And that's just what they're called.
I'm even trying to think of like a specific example from the main series of like someone who got a name, like, because it's not like the noble houses names are, you know, earth shattering in terms of like they're
No.
so like well thought of. Like,
No, a guy named Bob took over Westeros, okay? Like, it's like they're not
I mean,
amazing.
the house in the Reach, you know, before the Tyrells took over was the Gardeners. In the place with all the gardens. In a castle called High Garden. Like, so there's also like an element of I think part of what we're meant to like take here is that a lot of these names are names that somebody just took, and it's almost like people cared about those, and that's why they're important, and nobody gives a fuck about Will Barleycorn, right? Like, but the only difference between Barleycorn and, you know,
Stark.
right, or
Stark is an actual word. Stark means like sharp. Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell you the definition of the word Stark.
Yeah, or
it means barren and desolate. I wonder why that family was named that in the North.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You know, so yeah, you're absolutely correct. There are definitely one, and who knows what Targaryen meant in Old Valyrian.
Or, you know, the family that runs the big wineries, red wine. So all I'm saying, sorry, I got you with the chocolate.
I'm drinking my bowl of brown over here. Jeez.
You almost got a full spit take on YouTube.
Get the bowl of brown coming out of my nose. It'll be great. The kids will love it.
Like, and I know that part of it is like George, you know, from a meta perspective, like George comes up with this stuff. Yeah. And I do think that there's an element of, hey, Barleycorn from just a pure perspective is as much of a surname as any of these goddamn names.
Yeah.
But it just, the only difference is that it's like, hey, we've given this to a poor person, so no one really gives a shit about House Barleycorn because it's a guy. But if people, if for whatever reason Will fought really great in this battle and was recognized by the Lord and all that sort of shit, 1,000 years from now, when House Barleycorn like holds land and is like a big player in like in politics or whatever, no one's gonna remember that it got given to him because some hedge knight was like, "We need to be able to tell you fuckers apart."
Right, exactly. Or who's the one? Davos. What's Davos's last name? He's getting Seaworth.
Seaworth.
Same thing.
Literally, seaworthy is like a term for a vessel that can sail, right? Like,
you just made me think of something because you were like, oh, the word Barleycorn is just as much a name as anything else. I wonder how much, or rather within this universe, we have this interesting play on the, like, there's like the established house names or like any of like the Lord kind of stuff.
Sure.
Of which we have many dozens of houses. And then you have your like small folk who generally don't have last names, but then you have recognized bastards.
Sure.
And their last names are kind of Barleycorn-esque.
Yeah.
Right? Rivers, Snow, Flowers. You know, like they really are. They kind of have this like, you get a last name because someone important was one of your parents.
Yeah.
But we are going to kind of akin that last name to something generic. Yeah. So it's not, you aren't in fact unique from this. Because I think like what's happening with the names in Westeros is like, it's part of that power play. Is it classism? Yes.
It always is.
Yeah. What's in the box? It's classism. Oh no.
Yeah. Eggs boot just shakes it out. Classism falls out.
That's it. That's what's in his boot.
Like, wait a minute. This guy's a lord.
I can tell because of his Targaryen features. Yeah.
Yeah. He likes hot baths. I knew something was fishy about this guy, and he likes hot baths.
Oh, it's fantastic. But I mean, the naming convention is certainly part of like keeping you down, right? Yeah. It's like nepotism to like an extreme, where your family is so not powerful that not only can you not have a last name that everyone's passing down and around, but you and your brother, same name, both what? You know, like there's like a a devaluation of the individual through that in that kind of way. Like naming is so integral to like our identities, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just think it's interesting that we spend this time naming these people. And you were right to point out that the previous time we talked about naming things was naming the horses.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, now I do have an attachment to Will Barleycorn. I do care about what happens to Wet Wat. I want to know why his lightsaber doesn't work, you know, like these now I am here for this.
When the Order 66 scene plays, I'm gonna get really upset that Wet Wat is dying.
How often does that happen though in movies where like they name some random side character and everyone's like, oh my god, I love him. He's my favorite. And then they start making plushies of it or something, you know, like that. People do that. We get attached.
Season 2 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Wet Wat, cult hero.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna change my desire for things I want in the show.
Yeah.
Is gonna be I just want a Wet Wat drop. It's a Wet Wat reference. That's what I need.
And he's just soaked in sweat the entire time. He's just...
Someone get this idea to HBO.
Yeah.
The last bit of analysis I want to talk about was Egg being Targaryen. Did you have anything else on the names?
No, I think you've pretty much covered it.
So I don't know if you know this, but Egg is so Targaryen. And this is one of those.
What makes you say that?
This is one of those things where, like, we talked a bit last time about like the POV bias. And this is another great one that I think people should keep tabs on because it's not only present in these books, it's present in all of them about the Targaryens. Because the POV bias about the Targaryens is that they are magic, and they are magic because they are white and have blonde hair and purple eyes, and fill in whatever other feature you would like that's vaguely dragon-esque. Sometimes I ride a dragon, sometimes I like a hot bath. Dragon. Yeah. But Dunk is so sure. You know, it's like his eyes are deep and dark purple, Valyrian eyes. In Westeros, few, but the blood of the dragon had eyes that color. Okay, so other people in Westeros have eyes that color. So other people that are not Targaryens have eyes that color. Got it.
Yep.
And hair that's shown like beaten gold with strands of silver woven together. There are so many houses that have blonde bitches. There's so many. We have they're everywhere.
The West is crawling.
They're crawling. Blondes. There's blondes all over the place. And then literally the other piece of evidence he has is that Dunk likes to have hot baths. And my friend, that is just point of view bias happening. And we need to all think more critically about our own point of view biases. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Well, it's like when you're washing dishes or something, like people have different heat tolerance, like of the sensation. Like I have a lower threshold than my wife for how hot the water can be before it becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think she might be a magic person.
I was about to say, Erica sounds like a potentially Targaryen name. So.
I do. We do jokingly call her Mother of Dragons when there is really, really hot water. Like, and I'm like, I don't know how you're hanging in there, but anyways.
I don't know if you know this interesting bit of lore, and I haven't checked this in a long time, but somewhere in my brain I recall this. They actually wrote Dothraki as a language for the Bad Show.
Yeah.
And the man who drafted it, his wife's name was Erica. And so he used the word Erica to mean like love or to love. So that's fun. I believe that's a fact.
I'm gonna take that to the Khaleesi. So anyways, yeah, it's like the idea that he must be magic, and Dunk has done this a couple of times, where even in, I think it was the first the first part of the Sworn Sword, where he's like, he got so tan, it must be because he's Targaryen.
Yeah. You're like, whoa.
Like, no, it's because he's Dornish.
Dornish, bro.
Yeah. So like everything being confirmation that he's Targaryen, right? It's just like he knows he is, and he's the only one who knows he is. So all of the stuff that he thinks about is like, and that's just further proof, like every single thing that he does is just like, and that's just, it's because he's a Targaryen.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, nope, almost all of this has nothing to do with any of that. Like,
yeah. In fact, probably all of this has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah. The only thing that has to do with him being Targaryen is whatever's in his boot.
Well, the classism does have to do with him being Targaryen.
It does.
So
that's not getting away from that one. We talked a little bit about the fact that, like, as far as the themes of this, we talked a little bit about
war is bad no matter how small.
Yeah, like dying is not, people suffering in death is not good. And the importance of the cause, like, I would say particularly, like, you have to look at it like almost specifically through the lens of the Blackfire Rebellion, because like there are certainly causes, we've talked about this in terms of like, there are certainly causes that are worth like perpetrating and potentially receiving violence in support of. Like, there are causes that definitely meet that threshold.
What it's called liberatory violence.
Yeah.
So like doing violence to liberate, to protect, like in a way to like protect like fundamental human needs, rights, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
For sure.
And then there's bad war.
And like, I don't think anybody could come close to making the case that the Blackfire Rebellion was liberatory violence, right? Like, not even close.
No.
And I think you could probably, honestly, the war over the little river that like is impacting like people's ability to grow their food and like maybe survive
and
by
live,
drinking water.
Yeah.
This is almost like, Egg says that this is stupider, but I mean, in many ways, this is more justified to fight over than the who gets to sit on the Iron Throne, right? Like, that's a very petty thing to fight over. Whereas this is like people are still gonna be able to grow crops and drink water and all of those sorts of things on a grand scale, whether it's Daeron or Daemon Blackfire sitting on the chair. Like, that's not going to change these like big it's not going to change like people's well-being necessarily, like notwithstanding any policy decisions that Daemon Blackfire might have made. But the like, in the grand scheme of things, like this little stupid war is in many ways like more understandable than like the giant rebellion that they fought over that ended in kind of the status quo just continuing.
Exactly. No, I think you hit it absolutely on the head. Like, it's this war over the water, you can very clearly say, like, we are going to fight because they took our water, a necessary resource for our literal lives. I mean, that's very easy to understand why this is justified. And like, absent that, we will dehydrate and die.
Yeah.
Like there's not like
our options are limited.
Right. Our options are either we go take it back because they're not giving it back, or we just accept death. And like, no, you're completely right. Like, this is way more justified than like the personal and political intrigue of the court.
And yet, like, there is certainly there's some like culpability here from to bring the classism back into it. There is some culpability here still from the ruling class, in that this is a dispute that in theory the Lords should be able to like talk about this.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and no one should have to die about it. And they like, at least, Eustace Osgray is happy for them to be like, well, okay, go put an army together and we're going to go fight about this and kill some people. Even if it's, a dozen people fighting or whatever. So yeah, it's on the one hand, you could see like why you would fight over water, and at the same time, it's like surely there's another way to resolve this very minor dispute.
I think this ties into a bigger theme we see throughout the series about the like particularly over time the House Targaryen gets like weaker and weaker and gets like more and more unable to like actually govern effectively.
Yeah.
And this is a failure of feudalism right here, because this shouldn't be an issue. There shouldn't be two neighboring landholders fighting over a water source. Like there should be someone above them who tells them what to do.
Right.
Like that's the whole concept, right? It's like you follow the person above you. It's the chain of command. So yeah, the fact that this does have to happen is a sign that that's not working. We get other examples in A Song of Ice and Fire at large of like when the system is not working. Like Catelyn Stark dies amidst the middle of the system not working because there's another rebellion to take the throne because there's her husband's extrajudiciously killed, and they like all these things that the system wasn't working.
Yeah.
And maybe the point is that the system is bad and doesn't work. But I wouldn't know. I didn't read the books. So I just kind of love that Egg is kind of grappling with this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably an element of like Egg, up until recently, likely hadn't seen someone actually die.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ashford probably is the point in which he saw someone like violently die.
Yeah. How old was he in the first book? I forget. He was 10?
8?
He was 8.
And I think he's 10 now.
He's 10 now. Okay.
Yeah.
He's 10 now and he's starting to grow a beard? Damn.
Well, like
2
hairs or something like that, I think is but I think it's it's conceivable to think that it's like he may have seen people violently die in tourneys, I guess is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But until the Trial of 7, like he probably didn't see someone be killed like on purpose.
Yeah.
And so I do think that there's probably an element of like learning of a child who is raised in a like militaristic society that glorifies violence. And he's like literally on Dunk's shoulders shouting, "Kill him!" like during the joust and stuff. And now he's like, "Hey, what if these people die? Like that's bad." And it's like he is becoming conscious of the fact that these like violent deaths don't carry maybe the inherent sort of glory that they can when you are only fed propaganda as a child of no, like these people gloriously went to war and bravely and valiantly fought and died, heroes. And it's like, oh, no, sometimes like you get bashed upside the head and your brain falls out. Like that's the, what I mean? Like, and that's like the sort of sickening truth of it is like, no, there's like not really like glory in it. It's just like sometimes people just die in the mud and like, and he's thinking like that's what's going to happen to these guys. Because even princes can be killed in these fights. And like these guys have wicker shields. So like they are definitely gonna die. And there's not actually anything to be there, it's not as glamorous as you'd be led to believe by the stories.
That's a really interesting point you made too about like the fact that he saw Baylor die. That like that must have been like quite a formative experience. I hadn't thought about it actually from Mike's point of view. It must be quite a formative experience to be like you're saying, like war, fighting, violence, yay, and then to like see someone so much like you because they're literally in your family and also a prince.
Yeah.
Have his brains fall out. Like quite like not like I fell asleep and found out the next day that he died, like I watched his death. And that thus began the radicalization of Egg.
Yeah.
And the wokeness began at that point.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge part of what we're seeing here. And it's challenging also to Dunk because, like I said before, Dunk's response to Egg's concern, Dunk's just like, yeah, this happens. This is like how the gist. And that's not satisfactory to Egg. Egg wants there to be like a reason. He wants there to be some grand, you know, this is the big scale that we're working on. This is why it matters. This is all this stuff. And he's, you know, coming to terms with the fact that maybe all of it's a bad thing.
Yeah. It's like it's like you know, egg is like being brought up in corporate America, and and it's like lead with the why, and like, you know, if people understand the purpose, like then they'll go do it. And Dunk is the guy who makes $17 an hour and is like and is like, hey, whatever reason you got, like I still make $70 an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody out here is doing the same thing. Like where it's like, you can put whatever window dressing you want on it, and like I am underpaid.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what's happening.
I was curious, you talked in here about, because they are having this conversation while Dunk is taking his bath and Egg is like cleaning him. And I was curious because you had put in the outline, like, is there significance to it? Do you think so?
I feel that I feel there must be, because Martin is so intentional in his writing.
Sure.
I don't know that I have found it, and I don't know that I'm believing that there is in fact just a moment of whimsy. So I was wondering if you had any ideas. So what we know is we have and it might be something that's more apparent in a visual medium, because sometimes, like in literature, depending on your like level of imagination, it's either easier or harder to recognize what would be a visual cue. You know, this is why everyone's praising the new Frankenstein movie, because they're like, it's so visually interesting. And I'm like, but it's a horrible adaptation, and they didn't understand the purpose of that story at all. And I hate it so much. Anyway, I don't know if you've watched the new Frankenstein.
I have not yet.
Watch it, and then you can be mad with me.
Okay.
I will lodge exactly one complaint about the new Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein's mother's name in the book is Caroline. Her name is Caroline. That is my name. My name is Caroline. They changed her name to Claire. Why? There was no reason to do that. I have one literary character that has my name. God damn it. Talk about names before. I've got one, Victor Frankenstein's mom, and she's a lovely person who highly educates her children and dies of scarlet fever in the books. In the movie, they ruined that for me. Damn. So, fuck you, Guillermo del Toro. You're on my shit list now because you renamed, or you or someone who wrote the script renamed her, and I just want to know why. Anyway.
Just want to talk.
Just want to know. So like the visual image of like Dunk, who is like just large, just the biggest of boys, with the tiny little squire, and he's like covered in like dirt and grime and sweat, and he's like gross, getting into this giant tub of hot water and like scrubbing the dirt off. And like Egg having helped him, like helps him get, the Egg doesn't quite bathe him, but he like helps him get into the bath.
Yeah.
And it's like a steaming bath, so it's like hot. I don't know if it's just supposed to be like, you know, the juxtaposition to Bennis, that like Bennis is stinky and Dunk is not, or if it was just like George needed to put them in a scene to have a conversation and allow Dunk to think. But I don't know. I feel like maybe there's something there. I don't know that I've quite figured it out. He does also like go under the water in the bath, and so like he dunks himself. Do you get it? It's so cute. He dunks himself in.
I
don't know.
I do think there's like there is something to like it is like a thorough bath. Like he's trying to get really clean. versus just like rinsing, or like, and maybe previously we've seen like in the first book he just jumps in the river or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
This is like there's a bit of a scouring going on, so it does feel like there's maybe a little bit more of a like almost like a ritualistic sort of feel to this like ritual cleaning
Yeah.
like of Dunk. But yeah, I can't 100% like I don't have it as nailed down probably as other things, but I do think that there's something there. And again, like the fact that Dunk is the one, because it could have easily just been like Dunk thinking about stuff as he like kicks Egg out, like, and hey, you don't
Right. Yeah,
I don't need you or whatever, but like
what we really needed was some kind of transition to let him like be alone with his thoughts, right? So he could have just been on the roof. It could have just been like this whole scene could have been them just talking on the roof, and then Egg falls asleep, and then Dunk thinks about this Ashford. So maybe it's just like you were just saying, I forgot about the bath in the first book, so maybe this is just like to show the progression.
Yeah,
like in the first book when he needed to take a bath, he went and jumped in the river. In this book, he doesn't have a river.
There is some I would say there's probably some of the like Dunk station improving of like he's sleeping on a hot or he gets a hot bath, and he has beds provided. Like he has a provided bed. He chooses to sleep outside.
Yeah.
Versus book one where he, doesn't have a place to lay his head, so he makes himself a tent under a tree.
Yeah.
And this, it's like, no, he does like he has the access to hot water. He has a bed. He had like all of this stuff.
It could be that, maybe perhaps I'm thinking to it. Listeners, if you feel a significant...
I am curious what people think of the...
Yeah, because I don't know. Are there other bads in a song? I have to think harder about bads in a Song of Ice and Fire. There's Danny has a bathing pool in Marine.
Jamie's bath.
Jamie's bath.
Yeah, that's like the famous one for sure with Brienne.
Very significant bath. Queen Alysanne is attacked in a bathhouse at Maidenpool. I'm an English major. I'm sure I could string something together if I tried hard enough.
We can connect any dots here.
I got it. Don't worry. We'll. You just wait and see. It's going to be crazy. You know something? Dunk almost lost a hand and then took a bath. Jamie lost a hand.
Took a bath.
Done. Themes.
Yep, there it is. Anyway. Well, I did briefly well, I guess we can talk about first the show, which is it's real. It's like
allegedly. They keep saying that.
It's gonna come out in January. When season 2 rolls around, which is maybe wishful thinking, that it's within the next like 4 or 5 years, but
just manifest it.
Yeah, when season 2 rolls around, what would you like to see from this passage?
Well, originally I put please make Egg this empathetic. I really wanted to see that, but I'm throwing that out the window. I want Wet Wat on screen. I want him to just be flop sweat Wat everywhere. And that's all I want. If they make a single Wet Wat reference, I will be happy. That's what I want for the adaptation. What about you?
That was mine. Mine is along similar lines in that I want the peasant army to feel simultaneously like as underwhelming and have as much character as the peasant army that we are presented with. Like I want these characters to feel as sort of fleshed out as they are, like even with George just giving them, he does these just little notes of like, this is who this person is. And I think it'll, the overall weight of this story will be better for like giving us a little bit of more, more than just like a gaggle of people standing in dirty clothes or whatever with sharpened sticks. Like
And there's definitely ways for them to do that visually on screen. Like if you do like what I'm assuming will be a training montage, which could be quite hilarious.
Yeah.
You could do lots of cool stuff with them, like training with Dunk and training with Egg and each other and silly, whoopsie doodle whoa, slip on the mud, fall, almost fall on the spear, like you could do all kinds of stuff like that that could really characterize them all. So yeah, I agree.
I am picturing too, like sort of Dunk saying something along the lines of like the line about teaching them to use a spear that we talked about in the last episode, where it's just like, before you get to King Jaehaerys, you'd best help us teach them how to use a spear. Smash cut to that group of guys standing in front, right? Because he's like talking up this like army, and Egg is like, I could teach them about King Jaehaerys and Alisad or whatever, and then like just show the 8 guys who show up or whatever, and them trying to train from there. And yeah, I agree. Training montage. We need it.
You can have your training montage be like it starts off silly and has like silly music, and then like it slowly transitions into like the da 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 da. And they're like with their spears and they're like with their little shields, like getting really good. Yeah, be very cute. It could be done in a very cute way.
Well,
where are we reading to until next time? Do we know?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are going from the page break at the top of 152 is where we'll start. So there were red mountains in the distance, and I think we were going to go. Let's see.
Did we pick? I don't know if we picked.
I don't know that we did.
There's a break on 157. I don't know if that's far enough, but let's see if there's another break. There's a break on 161.
That's probably because it feels like the next section is going to be a quite large one.
Okay, so you want to go to the break on 161?
Yeah, so that'll end with you're not going, and that's the end of it.
Hold on the next page, there's someone who looks like Dunk in a dress. Is Dunk cross-dressing? Wait, is this about to get really cool? Are we about to get really woke all of a sudden? Next time on Pirates of Seven Kingdoms.
All right.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Well, that was great.
Yeah, where can folks find you on the internet, Caroline?
Still allegedly on TikTok. But like I said, your girl's been writing papers, so here I am. I'll be back. I'm working on a cosplay, which I have not done in several years. I don't know if anyone has played the game Lies of P, which is a Dark Souls-like game. I'm doing one of the costumes of the main character P, because he looks like Timothée Chalamet, and I look enough like Timothée Chalamet to pull it off. So I started that. So my point is, I'm hoping to start posting that on TikTok.
Awesome.
I started the drafting of the pattern just a few weeks ago, and I remember our friend Holly Bean doing her costume drafting on TikTok, and I was like, that'll be me this winter.
Yeah.
Someday when school is over, I'll be free again to sew. Right. So mostly there. And if anyone's interested in reading my silly zombie story, there's a link in my TikTok to that as well, which I have an artist who does pictures for that. Mm-hmm. And that my artist reads the text and then draws a picture. So it's possible to do.
Yeah. And they're good.
Yeah. And he's really good. John Salvino is his name. That's his artist name. He's great. Where can people find you besides right here on YouTube?
Still on TikTok, still going. I'm back in a bit of a groove, I would say. There was I got very, very busy for a run of a couple of weeks, was like traveling a lot for work and stuff. So I feel like I'm back in a more regular sort of rhythm with TikTok again. And I am also, I don't know, my algorithm gave me really weird vibes today, and I started to get concerned about like, oh no, has like something happened?
There has been some kind of change, because do you know that you no longer can comment the trans flag?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And
That's true. That's a true change.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I saw ads today where I was like, this is not stuff that I'm interested in. Why am I being shown sponsored content about Jordan Peterson?
Huh.
And also, why is he paying for ads on TikTok? Like,
yeah.
anyways, very, very strange, because I was like, man, I can't think of a person that I can think of actually a lot of people that I align with less than Jordan Peterson, but he's definitely up the list. So anyways, so yeah, so I'm still on TikTok for the time being. It'll be the inevitable, there's the unending sort of tug of war of, is this the place, and like, should I be doing my stuff here, and is TikTok even showing my stuff anymore? I'm not so sure, but like, we'll see
if and when the government will actually enforce the law that it enacted, that the Supreme Court said was legal, which it's totally not, but whatever. What's the First Amendment? We don't know what the First Amendment is. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. Our Supreme Court said
it's whatever dear leader says it is.
Right. Supreme Court said, this is the silly dancing app. Why do you need to talk on this? Just talk elsewhere. Or don't talk at all. Whatever you want. Like, either way.
Talk in all of our public parks and third spaces that we have.
Right. So, guys, if you like the episode, do like and subscribe and all those things, and comment. Let us know. Genuinely, let us know what you think the bath means, because I feel like there's something. And I'm gonna percolate on it for a few days. Next time, I'll let you know if I come up with anything.
I think folks will wow us in the comments, and I look forward to it.
If we get really stretched for it, we can ask Gretchen, because Gretchen is the master of. I guess that's the other place you could find me, is the other podcast I do about this series. It's called House of Fire and Blood. That's a very close reading of Fire and Blood. Gretchen and I are getting back into recording. We've taken a few months off, but they are like the best in terms of like finding the really detailed analysis stuff. So I'll float it by Gretchen. See if they can come up with anything.
Well, awesome. Like Belak said, subscribe, all of those things, and we will see you next time for more of The Sworn Sword.
Bye, guys.